Active FM. Radio has never been better.
What is up?
Hey guys,
This is the movie show
on your favorite ORSPS.
Active FM. I'm Zash.
My name's Ryan.
And today we are reviewing Guy Ritchie's first film because we promised you a Guy Ritchie marathon.
So we did it.
We did it.
We watched his first film. 98, right? Was
Yes.
it 98? Yeah.
I think 1998, right?
His first film in 1998.
There we go.
You could see it was,
You could.
but the script was the dialogues, the speech was so full. Like it was probably like so rich in like London. What is the
Pop culture.
pop culture? Yes,
There you go.
that's it. Culture. That it was just like what? Like usually when you think of England and London,
Yeah.
you think of like
The
tea,
Queen.
cup of tea and all that. And
God
and then of course
save
you do get Jason.
Statham.
Yes.
So we looked at how to pronounce his name, and it is pronounced Jason Statham, just in case you're wondering.
So and then you get him in like a lot of these action films, and you're like, now this is a bad guy, and
Yeah.
he's not American. Well, in this film, you kind of get that like that London action
The raw
vibe. Yeah,
Raw London.
yeah.
So the film is called Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels. That is the name of the film. And Guy Ritchie actually said the reason he named it that, he intentionally named it that because he wanted it to be this title that's big and stands out and has to like cover like at the theaters. It like takes over, like two.
Yeah.
I don't know what they normally put a films there. Yeah, but he wanted it. So that is the reason for the name. But the reason for the meaning behind the name is actually very true because like that is the film in a summarized version.
Basically,
It's about a lock that they never locked. It's about stock weed. And it's about two smoking barrels, which were two antique guns that actually the whole entire film is based around, but you don't realize that until the end. Yeah. And Guy Ritchie once again wrote this film by himself. It was his own film. In fact, I actually searched... So I was doing research and a video came up that those videos on everything you need to know about or everything you missed or whatever. So
Yeah.
it was one of those videos. But what was interesting about this one was it went back first and did like a whole like background check of Guy Ritchie. So what happened was Guy Ritchie, so he went to school and the characters in his film are actually like very good representations of Guy Ritchie as a person because apparently when he was in school, he banged. He often got like into trouble with teachers and then he got expelled at the age of 15. But he in an interview said he left school at 15. But then so you know how like, I left school sounds like you decided, the school thing is not for me, man. But in actual fact, he was expelled. But anyway, I suppose maybe he decided,
he was kicked out.
And then he apparently, so he went to a boarding school and there apparently was in his dorm, he was found with a prostitute, which his father then denied and said it was two prostitutes. So hence the expulsion. And then after that, he actually became a delivery guy for a film production studio. So that's kind of like what led him in the direction of
There you go.
film. And that then, when he was 25, he decided, I actually want to be a director. And he'd done like music videos and also like commercials before. So he really found his origins were in music videos.
Good starting point.
Yeah. And then
Usually
from
make-
there, he decided, I'm going to go for this film directing thing. And then by the time he was, I think 30, that is when he made Lock, Stock and Smoking Barrel. So guys, if you're 22 and you feel like you're going nowhere in life,
It's
it's okay. Yeah, breathe.
So did Guy Ritchie.
Yeah, you only realize at 25, like, oh, flip, I
Yeah.
want to be a...
I think he skipped all the like bad films,
Yeah. And then what he did was he wrote the first draft of Lock, Stock and Smoking Barrel, two Smoking Barrels, and he then wanted to get financing for the film. And obviously because he had done like music videos and stuff like that, he was already in the industry. So it wasn't like, how Peter Jackson's first film was like, yee! Like... This is actually a pretty good first film.
He knew people by then.
Yeah. So, but he did battle with the financing of the film, and eventually he found the person that actually produced the film. But what originally happened was they were promised, I think, something like £7 million to make it, and that fell through. So originally they were going to have these big names, like, because your budget determines your cost. Because if you can afford to hire Brad Pitt, then you hire Brad Pitt. But if you cannot afford to hire Brad Pitt, then you hold auditions and pray and ask the Lord to send you a Brad Pitt lookalike. Do you understand what I'm saying? So they were promised this. Basically the big budget fell through. So then they had to now cut the cast that they had. The only big name that they had in this film was Sting. Oh. He played the dad, the guy that I didn't click, but yeah. Interesting fact: Sting was in the first Dune that flopped. You know that Dune? You know the weird Dune? He was in the first Dune.
Wow.
And he played a character that now in Dune Part 2, Austin Butler's joining Dune Part 2. Sting originally played the character that Austin Butler's going to be playing. Yeah, but Sting actually has quite a big filmography.
And Austin Butler has played Elvis.
There we go.
So there's a connection there. Music.
Famous musician.
Somewhere along there.
So Sting was the only big name, and the only reason he did it was because of his wife. That was the only reason he was in the film.
So Jason wasn't big at this point yet.
Do you know how Jason came to famehood? It was Guy Ritchie. Guy Ritchie made Jason. So what happened was, Guy Ritchie was walking on the street, and there was this dude selling stuff. A street vendor.
Yeah.
And because of his charisma, Guy Ritchie looked at him and was like, I want you in my movie.
Are you serious?
And Jason it was Jason. That is how Guy Ritchie met Jason and then hired him, and that is how Jason came to be an actor.
He was a street seller.
He was a street vendor. And in fact, in Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels, it literally starts with him as a street vendor. So it's like...
So what are the chances? Because I mean, like he said, the way that he spoke while he was selling.
It's very possible that he was actually doing
it was like, okay, just do your thing.
Yeah.
Do your thing.
This is the last time you get to ever street.
And in this film, he's got quite a high-pitched voice. And in all the films that you see him now, he's got that, oi, you want to mess with me, kind of thing. Yeah. Come on, let's kick it outside, okay? It's from there to there. Oh my goodness.
I must be honest. So the film was good, but I could see that it was his first film.
Yeah.
But it still was. So there were parts where I was just I felt like it was dragging.
Do you ever think to yourself, looking at the sets and the way the camera was positioned, usually when you see something that's still for example, it's a first film. So it's a little bit, it's not that quality.
Yeah. It's a bit rough.
Did you ever look at it and say, what would I do? What is making this shot right now look as bad as what, it's not top notch A grade film.
It's a good point, actually. I didn't think
if you ever look at them, do you ever say, but what is it? What would you do? Not put the camera is creatively placed. But the lighting is creatively.
I must say,
what is it?
I think one of the things was acting.
It could be the size as well, yes, and
yes.
acting.
But also with the acting, so because of the budget drop, they actually had to hire a lot of, basically most of the actors that were in this film. It was their acting debut. Yeah. So of the 44 speaking parts in the film, in other words, out of the 44 characters that had lines, 17 were played by people who had never acted before. Yeah. And I do think that's
you could tell
sort of, yeah.
Because for me, what I picked up is that the actors did a lot of focusing on what they should say and the way that they should say it, but their bodies were dead still while they were saying it. So they would walk up together. Did you notice most of them are they're still shots. The actors were standing still.
Yeah.
And then they would walk up, and then they would stand still, and then they would say their line and pull the face and everything in the way that it should be. There wasn't.
For me, also the editing. So you would say something, right, and then it would cut to me, and then I'd react. So there was a slight delay in my reaction, and then it would cut back to you, and then you'd still finish the line that you were saying before. But
I want 50 quid for that.
And I want it today.
Oh. And I want it today.
That's exactly, yes.
Today?
That's what I picked up.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Yeah. Which could have been, that could have been fixed in editing. So I also
but for a first film.
No, yeah.
Usually I bet you now, for a lot of students and that are doing film and that, did your first film have a trailer that's on YouTube? Because there's a trailer on YouTube, and like it blew
No,
up.
this film was high profile for first film.
Yeah.
It's a high
But then I guess
profile first film.
I guess that's what helped with him being already there in the industry. He knew people. He's like, hey, this is my
They had
first film.
connections, yeah.
Here we go, check it out. Okay, cool. We're all gonna support guy. He's doing his first film, and
Although I don't think there was, because the fact that the money fell through, there wasn't a lot of support. So it just goes to show that even if because they did face problems with this film. In fact, there was a scene, there were a couple of scenes where, so for example, I actually didn't pick this up, but in one of the scenes, I think it was with Jason and them, where they're about to rob the guys that were robbing the weed joints.
Right.
They were like, did you bring the guns? And then the guy's like, no. And he's like, how could you forget the guns? What actually happened that day was the props team forgot the guns. So they then just were like, okay, oh well, we'll just write it in, and made it humorous. Like, so that even though there were problems, they just counteracted it with either humor.
We've been there before.
Yeah, we have been
We
there
know
before.
what that's like.
Yeah, you just add a line like,
It's hectic.
yeah, but nothing that a line or two can't fix, And then also, Vinnie Jones, who plays, he was also in Snatch.
I've seen that guy a lot around.
That guy apparently, I think the day they started shooting, he got out of prison for beating up his neighbor. That guy was hectic, man. And then even he was arrested when they were filming Snatch, which was Guy Ritchie's second film.
So this guy was a real tough guy.
And when he filmed the scene, when he's banging the car door into that dude's head. So apparently they put a piece of wood there, obviously, because they wouldn't have him actually bang an actor's head in. But Guy Ritchie's direction to him was, I want you to scare the camera guy. Like, he must be like petrified. And apparently after that, everyone was scared of Vinny, because they were just like, okay, this guy is hectic. So
I've seen that guy in so many other films. Usually as this English footballer.
Oh, serious? No, that guy's hectic, man.
Tough guy, and he's always like, God, you wanna mess with me?
Yeah, no.
Don't mess with me,
Don't mess with him. Don't mess with Vinnie Jones. He even sounds rough, like
That-
Vinnie Jones.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Vinnie Jones, yeah. And also, a lot of the actors that were in this one reoccurred in Snatch. So Snatch definitely was a better movie. Definitely. However, this one was still good. I would actually love for him to remake it. Because the storyline was brilliant. The whole thing, it's so dumb. Literally, the guys need money. They're in debt. And then they want to rob robbers. Which I suppose is smart, smart plan. And then they get these guns, these two antique guns, and they don't realize that these two antique guns are worth 10 times the amount of money that they owe. And then at the end of the movie, we actually don't know what happens. The way the movie ends, you don't know if because the guy ends up throwing them off a bridge, and then they land on the ledge, and then he's reaching. I don't know why he wanted to answer the phone. There's always a redial button, you can just call them back. But hopefully he got the guns. But it was one thing I love about Guy Ritchie is how he has different storylines going all at the same time.
Yeah.
But he connects them all so well. Sometimes Quentin Tarantino does that, but his one's more abstract, where they don't really connect. So for example, Pulp Fiction, you're following all of these different characters, and they're somewhat connected but not really connected.
Somewhere they walk past each other.
Yeah, that's sometimes that's just the connection, is they
But
walk
you only
past
find
each
out
other.
towards the end or close to the end. So
Yes.
you're kind of watching four lines, and it's just I don't know what is, but it's interesting. But I don't know. They got to meet somewhere.
But eventually, with Guy Ritchie's films, the way they meet is beautiful. Everything just fits. It's satisfying. You know how you watch those overly satisfying videos?
It's like making a cake, You got this weird dough stuff. You got all of these things, and you're like, what am I doing? And then in the end, when the cake comes
just
out,
this is perfect. Yeah, that's Guy Ritchie's films. Yeah, so it was a good first attempt.
Yeah, it was.
I was very interested to find out though that Guy Ritchie he made his first film. His first film was actually only released when he was 30 years old. Quentin Tarantino, how old was he when his first film was released? I don't think he was 30 yet.
So I think also how big. So what kind of industry, the difference between the movie industries in the two countries.
That's also true.
Yeah, I think that also.
Quentin was 28.
But he's probably been working at it since he was like...
Yeah, no. And he was obviously, he worked at a video store.
Yeah.
So he had, his knowledge of films was so broad. And then Guy Ritchie had done work. So obviously he'd done the music videos and the commercials. And then also he had apparently done like a short. He'd made a short to kind of show like what he could do. That was in an attempt to get funds for Lock, Stock and Two Smoking Barrels. And then, yeah, he obviously went on to make his first feature film, as they would call it.
Yeah, he did it. Takes guts.
Yeah, no, it does
Takes guts.
It does take guts. Yeah.
I'm sure, especially when, you know, e.g. the money that was going to come through doesn't come through.
And this was a success. Oh, do you know what also happened? So it premiered in London and it was a success. But it took, I think, 6 months. It only went to America 6 months later. So it was delayed by 6 months in its release to America. But then also they had a lot of like pre-screenings before. And do you know who went to one of his pre-screenings in America? Guess. Take a royal guess.
Quentin Tarantino.
No. Tom Cruise.
Oh.
And Tom Cruise watched the film and said, this is one of the best movies I've seen in a long time. And that's how... Ta-da! So Tom Cruise helped Guy Ritchie out.
Cool.
And then also Madonna, and if you know anything about Madonna and Guy Ritchie, you know that they were married once. She ended up getting
Madonna and Guy Ritchie.
You didn't know that?
No.
They're not married anymore, but they were married. But
This bloke over here.
This bloke over here married Madonna, yes.
Wow.
And then divorced her. Or she divorced him, I'm not quite sure.
I
but
wonder.
they got divorced, yeah. But she heard the music that he used in the film and then she wanted to, I think she got her record label involved with, I don't know if it was releasing the soundtrack or what the case was, but yeah, that's how him and Madonna got together. But the music, one thing Guy Ritchie is very good with is his music. He treats his music like a character. Do you understand what I'm saying?
Can't say that I've paid attention to the...
Didn't you pick up that one scene where the one set of guys are walking in their apartment? It's the same shot. The camera doesn't move. And then suddenly the next bunch of guys start walking up and the song changes.
Okay. Yeah.
But I think also the reason for that is because of his background in music videos. Because with music videos, you're telling a story to enhance the music, or you're using the music.
So in other words, like especially if you're writing the story and you're directing, you kind of have a picture, like the story in your mind, like a dream, you know. And for him, it's like, oh, that song, song, I can just picture it while it's coming up, you know. And
I also think Guy Ritchie is a very detailed person. Like, I know, even like when we did the review of The Gentleman, all the actors spoke about how Guy Ritchie dressed while he was on set. And like that just proves that, like, do you understand what I'm saying?
I think we've spoken about that before, wasn't it?
So like the detail, like he pays a lot of attention
That's
to
right,
detail.
With the costumes and that.
Yeah, and music would be...
The Gentleman, right?
Yes.
The Gentleman, how they dressed, yeah.
And even the costume in this one, I don't know if you know this, but all of the characters either wore, I think it was black, grey or brown. He made sure that the costume designer didn't include any yellows, any like bright colors, like all of the... Yeah.
Oh, cool.
So there is one scene where they're at a strip club, and I was just like, that's the other thing. Do you know that technically, okay, there was one chick in the film. There was the girlfriend that was high most of the time.
Yeah.
But there was no, it was a guy, but it wasn't, I didn't feel... You know when you feel like you're watching, it didn't affect me. Like, for me, the story was just about, this was the story that he was trying to tell. And so, yeah. And then also...
So in other words, there wasn't like unnecessary stuff.
Yeah, like there was no love story. And apparently there was a girl, I think it might have been the chick that was high. She had a bit more of a storyline to her. But then the film was close on 2 hours and Guy Ritchie was like... Funny enough, Guy Ritchie as the director was like, it's too long. The producer said, no, it's not, which never happens. It's normally the producer telling the director to cut it down.
Well, he is he did write the story.
Yeah. So he was like, it needs to be more fast paced than this. So I know they cut out 10 minutes. And I think they also completely cut out her storyline. To bring the film down. I do think that they could have brought it down a little bit more.
I wonder
from the perspective of like the reaction time. So
Yeah.
like you say the line, it cuts to me, and I react immediately. Yeah, which
Well,
would have cut it down.
They
Slightly.
obviously didn't like fine comb,
Yeah.
like go through it and like really try and touch it up, type of thing. So
But it's still a good film.
I think I'm interested in his latest one.
The Operation.
Yeah,
What's it called?
Fortune.
Operation Fortune. And it also has Jason Statham in it and Hugh Grant. I'm actually excited to see Hugh Grant because for me, Hugh Grant's best performance was in The Gentleman. Okay, Guy Ritchie, I said this of Quentin Tarantino. Quentin Tarantino knows how to bring the best acting performance out of an actor. He did that with Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah,
But Guy Ritchie has brought the best performance out of Brad Pitt and, in my opinion, the best performance out of Hugh Grant thus far.
definitely.
Yeah.
Because I enjoyed Hugh Grant.
Yo, Hugh Grant was...
Didn't even recognize
my
him.
mom didn't recognize him.
You're just like,
Who is that? And then eventually like, wait,
I know him, but I don't know him.
Yeah.
But I don't know. But then again, you expect like a much younger version of Hugh Grant.
And Hugh Grant often plays the same character. Like whenever, he's one of those actors, especially in rom-coms. When
Yeah.
he acts in a rom-com...
Sort of like pretty
it's a-
boy, clumsy
yeah. And
type
he's always
of,
like, right.
yeah,
That's
yeah,
his
yeah,
character.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
that's Hugh Grant. Like he's a slow, good-looking, but like, yeah. But now in The
Yeah.
Gentleman, he wasn't like that.
Yeah. No, completely unexpected.
Completely different.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was a very good film, except for the swearing.
The usual,
The swearing was
like we said,
was like Quentin Tarantino.
very
and
raw.
Very raw. And then that stupid scene that was very unnecessary. I
A
must
lot
be
of
honest.
lot of swearing there.
And then but otherwise it was very good.
Yeah.
And the fact that the whole film was about two guns. That's actually what the whole film was about. But you don't realize it until the end.
4 friends. What? 2 days.
2 days.
2 guns. Or 3 days. 3
days.
days, 2 guns. Yes. There you go.
And it's basically about paying off a debt. Like
That's
the
it.
main storyline is paying off a debt.
That's it.
Yeah.
They're gonna rob dudes who have guns.
No, they're going to rob dudes
Because first
with
they say,
2 guns.
yeah. First they say, "Are you in it?" Yeah. They got guns. Wait, what guns?
What do you mean they got guns?
Yeah.
Shame. Yeah. And then they end up robbing. Yeah, no, it was...
You should go see it
Yeah, go watch it. Well, this has been The Movie Show.
on your favorite ORSPS.
Peace.
Cheers.